A number of years ago, a blog was doing the rounds online. It's gone now. I'm going to put a link to it in the description, and I'll also pin it in the comments. Not the blog itself, but to the Wayback Machine version of it, so you can check it out. This was the fake PhD blog, which at the time I was kind of interested in because I hadn't really realized just how many people in the hypnosis world and other alphabet therapies weren't doctors. I naively had thought a lot of these guys were genuinely qualified. And as I started to look at some of the people listed on the blog and then look at their other qualification claims, that's when it became so apparent just how much fakery goes on. Now, at the time, I was blamed for that blog. A certain forum for which I had been banned from had basically decided it was me doing it, and it wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it, nor do I know the person responsible for it. There's a few things on the blog that are actually quoted from me, nothing to do with me at all. It's basically, I've written blogs, I've done lots of videos. That stuff had been lifted, reproduced, and people went, "Oh, it's that Austin, he's ruining the party again." Now, essentially what people were doing was doing mail order PhDs. There's lots, in America especially, it's quite a common thing where it's a divinity degree most of the time. They find loopholes in the academic credentialing process, and essentially you just send them any old crap, and they send you back an authenticated, legitimate PhD without ever going to university, doing any research or anything else. And yes, send off a fee. A lot of these places are in independent island countries and places like that, where they don't even have a university, and somebody registers in a university and then does mail order doctorates. Another common one for people to do is they go and train as a chiropractor. And you only have to really do fairly minimal stuff in a lot of chiropractic schools in order to then be a doctor of chiropractic. And a lot of these people, especially the vaccine experts, the people who are the COVID experts, the immunology experts, these people who are Dr. such and such, expert in, and then they're an expert in MMR and autism, that kind of nonsense. They often have DC, which means they're a chiropractor. And there are so many people who, when I started to look into this, I had no idea. People have written lots of books. I had always thought they were a qualified medical doctor. They're not. They're just using the title. As an aside, by the way, medical doctors using the term doctor actually came second. Doctorates were a university PhD thing, which then the medical profession then started to use as a title, rather than the other way around. And the scammery is enormous. Anyway, back to the hypnotherapy lot and the other alphabet therapies, all calling themselves Dr. such and such. When they were then being outed on this particular blog, and I've got to say, whoever that person was, I don't know who it was doing this. They certainly did a lot of background research and were just publishing everything. And it was amazing just how many people I knew were getting caught up in this. Now, in my other life, away from all this nonsense, most of my friends, I have friends, I know, it's shocking to some people, I know, but most of my friends are people who've done PhDs. I'm not an academic. I have no academic qualifications whatsoever, nor interest. But I tend to hang around, or hung around, people who are pretty clever and academic-like. And all of the people I know who have got genuine university PhDs, none of them, not one of them, refers to themselves as doctor. Don't know any of them. I know a number of people who have PhD in psychology. They never refer to themselves as doctor such and such. And it's a real telling thing, I find, when people insist on being called by fake credentials. It tells you an awful lot about their mindset when they start using self-appointed titles that are beyond descriptions. On websites and in marketing, we need to use fairly descriptive terms. I cringe now. I used to call myself a clinical hypnotherapist. What does that even mean? But it sounds convincing, right? Don't do that anymore. But I understand. So I have an understanding that other people will do this, and they've got to give themselves some kind of descriptive term in the marketplace. But when people are faking qualification and giving the illusion of authenticity, so lots of certificates, you see their name and then an endless string of meaningless letters which denote some kind of qualification or certification, which are usually just fabricated by somebody else often. It should tell you quite a lot about where they're operating from. So many coaches, therapists, alphabet therapy practitioners of varying sorts are operating from a position of, hey, look at me, I'm important. rather than just getting on and doing the work. And this is something I've railed against for years. I'm guilty of this in the past. I can't deny it. I was one of these people too when I was years ago. Luckily, not in recent years, I'd like to think. But essentially, it's people want to make money through having conversations. They want to be deemed to be highly important, influential people by having conversations, because that's what a therapist does. A therapist has conversations. They talk, and they want to get paid handsomely for talking for a living, and achieve some kind of very high social status. And to me, that reveals so much. Again, I keep repeating myself. It says so much about the mindset of an individual and what is it they're doing. What are they trying to achieve when they're working with another human being? Is it that they need their clients, but they need their clients more than just a professional would. They need their clients on a very personal and status-driven level. And that's really all I want to say on that one. I'll put a link in the description and in the pinned comments. Do have a little look. Now, to be fair to the people who've been caught out in that blog, it was a number of years ago. And as far as I know, the majority of people, not everybody, but the majority of people exposed in that blog did actually go ahead and stop calling themselves doctor. When I posted that on Facebook, when I posted the link periodically on Facebook and other social media at the time, I was told that I'm doing a very bad thing by embarrassing people, by drawing attention to this nonsense. Then somehow I'm bringing the profession into disrepute, and that kind of reminded me a little bit of my days in the NHS as a whistleblower, where I discovered that if I was with the 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000 people who was abusive, neglectful, or just downright dangerous in a clinical environment, if I reported them and took it through to full complaint, I was the bad guy, because I'm bringing the whole thing into disrepute, not the person perpetrating the crime in the first place. It's one of those weird little things in people, and it seems to be endemic in the alphabet therapies too. As always, please click that like button and leave a comment. Any interaction's a good interaction, even if it's a negative one.